new React app. Strictly speaking, we're not starting from scratch because we're going to use create React app. There's really no reason in the world not to. There are several starter projects for React. This one is an official one. It is actually from Facebook, who make React as well. So we've already installed it, hopefully. At some point you ran npm install -g create React app. If not, now's the time. But hopefully you all already did that. If you have the command create React app, if you type create React app and you get anything back like this, then you already have it. So that's good. So we don't want to run this, of course, in the Dwarf Underground folder. We want to run it in the folder with the rest of our projects, the XTBC folder or whatever you called it. And we're going to run create React app and name our new chat app. I always like horrible puns. The worse, the better. Chat on a hot tin roof, the chat's pajamas, whatever. I'm going to go with Chatarang because it's at least somewhat succinct. So create React app, space, the name of your app. In the folder where you would put a new project. So just don't put it inside another project. Don't put it inside Dwarf Underground or anything. Put it in the same folder where, what was our thing? The other, Chris Mess and Dwarf Underground, whatever folder they're in. So like your XTBC folder, yeah.
Try running npm install g create React app. It says I don't have to add permissions.
Okay, for just this one thing, do sudo. I mean, you're telling it super user do something, so I pronounce it sudo. Okay. Yeah, SU stands for super user. So when you're done, it'll tell you success, created it. It'll tell you that you can run several commands. We learned a tiny bit about this yesterday. You can run yarn start to start your server and so on. If we did that right now, we would see it's the same starter project that we had with Dwarf Underground with the spinning logo and all that stuff. There are several other scripts we can run. If you actually look at the code, I'll go ahead and change into Chatarang here. cd Chatarang. And I'll go ahead and open up my code window. Package.json at the bottom, you have all these scripts. So those are the scripts it's talking about. Start, build, test, eject. So you can run all of those with yarn. The most interesting one here is eject. And what it does is gets you out of create React app world. Because the whole idea behind create React app is it hides a lot of the configuration from you by just using a lot of reasonable defaults. It makes it so much easier than starting from scratch because we have things like Babel and a whole build process which uses something called Webpack. And that could be a whole class on how to do that stuff. But Create React App just does it for you. But should you ever actually need to get to the configuration for that stuff, you can always run yarn eject. But you can't undo that once you've done it. You can never get unejected. So don't do that unless you really want to. And don't want to, please, for now. Because it also only puts these dependencies, React, React DOM, and React scripts. That's all that Create React App adds to your app, dependency-wise. Everything else is a dependency of React scripts itself. So if you eject, then you'll see all the actual dependencies that it's hiding from you, as well as a whole configuration folder with stuff that we don't need to worry about for now. But it's interesting. Create React App has a really, really thorough and good user guide. If you're ever curious about how to do something else, check this out. The table of contents is in the README. And actually, the entire user guide is the README in your actual project by default. So there's all kinds of information here about deployment and all kinds of good stuff. But we're going to keep it relatively simple in this class. So we've got our React app. We did a quick tour of what that includes yesterday. We have a gitignore file that ignores the node modules folder, among other things. We have the package.json, which has the name of our app, our dependencies, and our scripts. We have a public folder, which just has favicon, a manifest, and index.html. And we have the source directory that has our actual components and so on in it. So to start, I say we just commit it exactly as it is so that we have a starting point that we can always get back to. So let's go ahead and do that. It is not a Git repository at all yet. It is just totally a blank project with some React boilerplate in it. So we'll have to actually do git init inside your Chatarang folder. Make sure you actually, after you ran create React app, it does not change you into that directory automatically. Make sure you actually do a cd space Chatarang. Yeah.
Mine doesn't register the command create React app.
Like create React app didn't work.
Yeah, it just puts them on command.
You did it. Yeah. Switch. Some of you switch to the guest network. I've heard that it's faster for this. Okay.
If I switch in the middle, it'll probably like stop, right?
I don't know. I don't know that it will. But it might be worth a shot. Okay. So you all know how to create a Git repository. When it's done, do git init and just make your initial commit. You can just do git init on the command line. You can do all the rest in here, and then I'll stop. So initial commit with create React app. Except I have no place to push to, but at least I've done that. We'll do the push, in a second. No, up a level. It's a whole new project. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. We have some practice creating GitHub repositories now. You can do this even before the create React app finishes, of course. You can always go out to your GitHub, create a new project. Chatarang, create repository. And you can just wait until that finishes before you actually try to push it, because you will have to have a commit before you push, right? So just do those familiar steps. And we have our new project.